hear either.
Say, did my sound go out?
No, I can hear you fine, buddy.
And Drew's back. Yay.
Right,
Hey, what's poppin'? It's Chad. What?
We're live. Hey, we're back on, guys. So hopefully these people can see us.
Tell us in the chat. Can you see us?
I'm like John Cena. They can't see me.
Well, it's up on my iPad, so.
Well, that worked out well.
I can't hear anybody.
You can't hear
You
anybody?
can't hear anyone? I can hear everybody.
Can you hear up me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have sound through the thing.
Did we start a different on air?
Yeah.
We did?
It says part 2.
Oh, okay. I'll click through that. It's on the wrong thing.
Yep, we're live. And everybody's on here too. So that worked out.
Awesome.
Hello.
All right.
Drew and Carson on mine, though.
Part 2.
Are they still?
The night's still young, and we can see you and everybody else. Carson's back,
Carson's back.
and we just need Drew back. Carson, are you good?
No, I need an invite in the chat. For some reason, it's not letting me join. When I joined on my computer, I didn't have sound.
Okay, I'm sending it to you right now.
So, yeah.
Guys, it wouldn't be a Friday night if it wasn't off the rails.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Way of life.
Wait, why does you keep coming in and out?
I don't know.
Don't quote me on that.
Damn you, legend. Where are you?
We need legends.
Drew gone too soon in the chat.
Without Carson and without legend, it's
It's
sad times.
sad affairs. But we got TJ the Slapdragon Watson in there. I always just want to go TJ Watson because that's who I knew him of before the Slapdragon came in. But that dude is a legend, man. Carson, I remember, it's kind of funny that we're here on this particular night because it was a year ago today that Reviews from the Batcave started the Magnificent Seven, which didn't even make it to the air. And then Comic Core was founded, and then it lasted up until August, and then it came and created its own channel. So this is kind of like this is our 1 year anniversary, kind of. Right,
Happy anniversary! Yay!
God, was that awful, too. If you think about it.
Carson seems very excited.
What an exciting first year it's been for the Comic Core. I can't explain how much fun we've had over the last 12 months on this, and other channels.
What an emotional roller coaster, for sure.
I mean, honestly, we had one of the best in the community, and unfortunately, he's taking a hiatus. But Alex, the comic order, was on that show, and Alex is the man.
Chris Barrett says, "Happy anniversary. Who needs a divorce lawyer?"
That's what we're laughing about.
Yeah, you and Colossus, Caitlin.
I'm sitting next to you.
Yeah, you put me back in the box every night.
So we're gonna get into the chat. We gotta thank this chat for coming back, and then we're gonna get into JP's questions. Because I still got some more questions for this guy. We got Poor Man's Comics was first this time. I don't know where Jason Smith was at, but Poor Man's Comics was first this time. Chris Barrett was second. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, Perry Comics, Mastodon, thank you guys so much for coming back. JM Comics says we can see you. Thank you for that, and welcome to the chat. We got JD in the chat, JD Comics. So what's going on, JD? Always like seeing JD out as well. What they're laughing about over there. We still got Kachoo.
Chat.
Oh, wait a minute. Do I need to read something else in the chat?
Chris Barrett just said, "Mark, for you, I won't charge."
Hey now.
This is going to get a little interesting.
That's what I'm laughing about.
Anyway, Chris Barrett, he's having a great vacation, but we're going to go back to JP. So JP, what was your on Marvel Hunter? Gotta think Marvel Hunter didn't get a chance to shout him out. And Comics Explained, not gone too soon tonight. But JP, what was your influence for doing this list? Was there a specific, instance that happened to you, or you bought a book that it was recommended on one of these top 10 lists, or you just kind of did it just to look at some numbers?
So about the time that Tom started doing the top 10 is about the time I started getting back into comics, and I started finding YouTube. Like the YouTube thing was basically Tom, Reggie, and Bueller were like the first 3 channels that I found. So I love that top 10 video, and I was watching all the time, and I started like going out and looking for those books, and like I quickly realized that to a certain degree that was a mistake, because I'm JP's budget collecting for a reason. I have a very tight budget that I can afford to do toward comics, and and I was chasing some books that just made no sense. There weren't books I really wanted. They weren't books that like fit in my collection, and I was making poor decisions. And if you guys have watched my channel, and I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm a researcher for a living. I do science and research. So numbers are something that come natural to me. So I was like looking for somebody to I was like, well, that's great. They're hot now, but I want to see what's happening down the road. What happens later? And it was something I wanted, and I wasn't finding it from anyone. And when I started to do a channel, I'm like, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to look back and see what's going on. It was as much for me to start out with as it was for anybody else, because I wanted to make better decisions. I wanted to understand why books were on the hot top 10 and which books were really good investments and which ones were not. And that's really where it came from.
So in doing your research, I'm interested to hear, like, anytime you do numbers and you're doing things, what is the trend that you're seeing that is for the plus and for the negative?
Okay, the trend I see is obviously almost every week there is a book on the list that is a true key book. Almost every week that like you can count on that it's spiking for some particular reason, but the general trend on that book is up. But most of the time, most lists, most of the other books are, to a certain degree, flashes in the pan. And what I see is there's a lot of books that hit the list because something got optioned. Well, 6 months later, there's been zero news on if they're ever going to make it or if it's ever going to become anything. People like really spec hard on option news when option news means nothing. It just means someone has the right to make it into a TV show or a movie.
True story.
They've bought the right so that if it ever gets made, it has to be them. It doesn't mean they're going to do it.
I got a long box full of optioned Image #1 titles that are never going to be a show, or they're never going to be an ongoing comic book for the most part. They're going to get 6 issues and they're going to go away. A lot of that stuff, you strike on a Saga #1, you strike on a Walking Dead. The buying Image #1s to for spec reasons, that game is dead.
Yeah, and and the other thing is there's a lot of stuff that was going on that I've been reading, like articles and stuff, and a lot of the reason is because comic book movies have become so big, is a lot of people are buying the option rights. Like there were books that literally they were buying the option rights before the story ever came out. Anyone had ever read this, like they got no public response to whether or not people liked it, and they were buying the option rights because they thought there was a chance. Because
studios option a million things every year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you a follow-up question then, based off of numbers, more so of what transpired last week. So, would you say that technically that Silver Surfer Black is a spec book?
Okay. Yeah, I would say that there's probably some people that are specking on it. I don't.
So, I mean, here's the reason why I'm asking that. So typically, if you're a LCS, your books come in on Tuesday. You
Right.
get enough time to check the books in, put them away, get ready for Wednesday, and then at that time you have to then incorporate what you have in damages, replacements, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And you have until Thursday at noon to resubmit your damage orders so you can get those books back. The problem that I have with that particular company, Marvel, is that they sent out on Monday an email to the LCSs asking for them to put in an order for the second printing of Silver Surfer Black. They haven't even received
Right. Well,
they haven't, and the reason why they're doing that is because they are doing a lower print run on the first and even a lower print run on the second printing, and they're using the second printing as a variant edition.
And they've already announced a third printing.
Yeah,
That
and does that make any sense? I mean, Naomi is a god awful book. I mean, it is terrible. And the only reason it is a spec book is because they did an exceptionally low print run on it, and then even a lower print run on the second issue. So, as a collector or a completist, it's going to be practically impossible for you to get issues for 1 and 2 had you not signed up for them.
Right.
This is where I'm seeing that the industry is falling short, because this is not, they're controlling the market to make actual speculation books just based off of print runs. And how does that make sense?
Well, actually, I think that's probably one of the only ways that it does make sense. If you're getting inflated values on these things that are everywhere, that eventually that bubble is going to burst. Everybody saw that with New Mutants 98. You know, when New Mutants 98 is not going up in price, it went down drastically and then stabilized because of the fact that they're. At one point, you could walk into any comic shop in America and find a New Mutants 98 chilling in a dollar bin. Maybe 2 or 3 of them. Are they all in good shape? Probably not. A 9.8 is still going to be something that's rare. But there's so many of those books out there that there's no way it has any real monetary value. Whereas if you're limiting the print run on these books, that's going to be the thing that, if there's a limited print run on 2 and it's got a better cover than the third printing, then you want to get that second printing. The actual numbers behind how many of these books they printed has a lot to do with like how valuable they're going to be going forward.
Right. And they're using all the tools available to them to try to drum up interest in books. I mean, like, sales numbers overall have been down the last few years. It's why we get all the damn variants. It's, and this is one of the things they found that works, is that low print run books, if they can find a reason to get people to spec on it, and they can put out second, third, fourth prints, it's a way to sell books that they'll sell more overall, like through the fourth print of Naomi #1, than they would have if they just printed Naomi #1 at a logical number to start with.
Well, I think that the low numbers, at least in part, if they can do a second printing and they can do another cover and they can remarket something. I mean, it's the same that Disney's doing right now. They're putting Endgame back in theaters and throwing Endgame and end credits in there. Why? To drum up more sales and beat Avatar. You gotta do what you gotta do to generate interest, to generate sales. And at the end of the day, it's a business for them. I don't think it hurts the collector if there's a lower print run on the first print. You're still going to get a better deal in that first print in the long run if it's a desirable book. The second prints, third prints, hey, if you want to delve that far into it, that's awesome. But the fact that they're reprinting these books and making it possible for everybody who wants to walk into an LCS to grab the new Donny Cates Silver Surfer book that's awesome. I think that right there is customer service. Is it great for the LCSs and their variant structures and all that and retailer incentives? Who knows? Who cares? For me, I don't run an LCS. I walk into an LCS looking for books, and I like them to be on the shelf when I get there.
Yeah. No, and Drew, I agree, but I mean, it comes to a point where you're walking into shops where people that don't buy books are buying every single book because they heard about this last night that this is going to be the hot book. And then as a collector, you go in and, it's sometimes nice to see something on the shelf that you haven't read and you grab it. And the dude before you just bought the entire rack.
Yeah.
Honestly, at that point, I think that's good for business for the LCS owners. I think if you can then go to your, the guy at the counter and be like, hey man, I really wanted Silver Surfer Black issue number 1. He can say, I tell you what, man, they got a third printing comes out next week. I'll put it in your box for you. And that again, they need, if these LCSs are moving more product, that's good for everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the mouse is going to make money no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
What's happening?
We got Bake the Snake. It looks like he had a weird direct message or something from somebody. But
I slid into
Someone
the
slid in my DMs, man.
Sounds dirty every time you say it.
Oh, I'm gonna send you a DM.
Yeah, you're my new
DM.
friend on Instagram. Why not?
So welcome,
Yeah, man.
Bake.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm coming at you live from the Smoke Shack. It's Friday night. I figured y'all were getting off the rails, so
Enjoy. All right, JP. Overall though, do you see what's the biggest trend that you're seeing right now besides the movie interest or the television series?
Beside that, boy, that drives most of the list. I'll be perfectly like in general. The other thing is that you will get hot variants that will drive, the list a little bit, and those are a little tougher to understand. Some covers have staying power and some do not, and in general terms, they don't. Like general terms, if you're chasing the hot cover of the week, it does not have staying power. But every so often, there's a Batgirl 23. There's a cover that takes off and just keeps going, or takes off and gets to a height and stabilizes and just stays there. And for me at least, I haven't been able to figure out what that factor is. A lot of it, I think, has to do with print run and how available it truly is. Like the one thing I do see is like the difference, like with Batgirl 23 versus a lot of the Batgirl covers that came later that aren't worth anything, that are just as cool, is that cover people did not know was coming before the FOC. Like it didn't come out, they didn't release it until after the FOC, therefore the orders were lower. Typically, if it's a really hot cover and it's a regular cover and people see it before the FOC, people order enough of them that it doesn't matter, that it's not going to hold back. It's not always the case, but that is generally the trend on the hot cover. If it's been out there long enough that people can pre-order it, then it's probably not going to maintain.
What do you think about the use of hot creators and previous continuity driving what becomes key issues? Carnage Mind Bomb is something that comes to mind. Nothing that anybody's done with it. Donny Cates said it in an interview, and Carnage Mind Bomb blew up. Things of that nature, like the Necro Sword being something that's used here and there, but as soon as we tie it to Null, it becomes something that people need to go out and get. Are those things that have staying power, or do you see those as things that just kind of are a flash in the pan?
Those are almost all of those books. Like, and it just so happened that a lot of that started happening. Like, there was a Donny Cates Said Something book on the list, like the first 2 months that I did it, or more. Like every week there was a Donny Cates book. Donny Cates said Endgame or in an interview, and people were like, oh, and they went after that character. And Donny Cates said Martyrs Carnage Mind Bomb was one of his favorite stories, and it blew up. And like none of those books, Carnage Mind Bomb maybe the most of any of them, but there was like that one where the Shitarack or whatever, that Doctor Strange book, which was the first appearance of that, the Ghost Rider's chain, the Cosmic Ghost Rider's chain was made out of or whatever.
The Crimson
That book was back in a dollar, and people were paying $40, $50 for it. And
I mean, with the Sidorak, though, I mean, he's been mentioned. He appeared in the 80s, but he was mentioned in the damn 60s. So he had been a character that was in the periphery. The origin of the Juggernaut. It was his first appearance in mention. Isn't that the first appearance of Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I mean, but in terms of like the first one, I don't know, the book that everybody jumped on, which was a Doctor Strange book from like the 90s, it jumped up to a like $50 book, and it's now back to being a $5 book. It's, and there's most of those, that's exactly what happened, because there's been no follow through, and the character itself, like,
Did he freeze?
okay, you mentioned it in a story. Did we freeze?
You froze for a moment. You're back.
Okay. But most of that stuff has not had any staying power.
So do you think overall that these hot lists, by spiking the collector's market in kind of a cyclical nature, do you see them overall as something that's good for the collecting industry or something that's bad for the collecting industry?
Well, I think they're fine. I don't have a problem with, like, and I was going into this before we froze on the other stream, which was I got a little feedback that people were like that I'm taking a shot at CBSI. I'm not. I'm not taking a shot at Tom. I'm not. I enjoy the list. I think they're fun. I think people need to realize what they are. They're a snapshot of what's happening at that moment. A lot of those books spiked not because of they hit the list, they spiked because there was option news, and then the list just put them on there, and then they spiked a little more or whatever. And so I think they're fine. I think people just need to have the right context for what that means, and that's what I'm hoping to help people with. The context is that is the wrong time to buy that book. If it hit that list, that means that is the wrong time to go after it.
Yeah, it's a good time to already have it.
It's a good time to have it, but you got to be quick. Like, I literally, like, there were books that hit the list, like, that I had, and I thought, well, I had like 2 copies of one book that I was like, well, I don't need both these. I put it on eBay, and Saturday morning, and the market had flooded on Saturday morning, and you couldn't get half of what they claimed it was going for on the list, and you looked back at sales, by Saturday, you couldn't get half of that because everybody that had it dumped it. And so, like, I think they're fine. I think it's fun. I like to know what's going on in the market. I think that's cool and fun, but I think it just needs context. And that's what I hope to help people get, is give it context of what it is. It's a snapshot of what's happening right now. It does not mean those books are long-term good value. It doesn't mean you need to go out and get it because Donny Cates said Mind Bomb was his favorite Carnage story. Just, collect what, like everybody says, collect what you like, and you'll like your collection. It's not that hard.
That being said, we've talked to you a lot about budgets and collecting, and that's a lot of what your channel's about. But what do you collect?
I am mostly a bats and spiders guy. If that makes, those are the characters that I loved as a kid. Those are the characters I've always had an attachment to. The Batmans, the Spider-Mans. I've said multiple times on my channel, Nightwing's my favorite character because he was the character that took me from somebody who, as a kid, I read lots of comics. I didn't own any comics. I would literally go to the grocery store. My mom would go get groceries. I would go to the magazines. I'd go to the spinner rack, and I would read every book there, and I wouldn't buy one. And that was how I took in comics for all my childhood and teenage years.
You got your grubby fingers all over everybody's newsstand.
Everybody's book. I was, that horrible guy that read them all. You'd go to get the book, and it's like, somebody's already been through this. And that was me. I fully admit it.
Dog ear and all the ASMs in the Walmart.
Oh yeah. And before I got to college, was when they launched. Like I started college in the fall of
Where'd you go to school?
Mizzou. So and they launched Nightwing in like September or October of '96, and that was the first story because was out on his own. It spoke to me on a level that made me actually want to own it.
Do you have Nightwing 93?
I do. Oh, the one where he gets raped or whatever. I don't think I actually have that one.
It's really hard to find. I've been trying.
I have
Yeah,
to.
you really want to read that one, don't you?
I love rape books.
That's really going to work out moving forward.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
You just gotta keep rolling. Anyway, we got Thomas Wayne in the chat. What's going on, man? We also got Ruben Waves in the chat.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Ruben
We got
Nieves,
Gil
man.
311. He wants some cabbage soup. Don't know why, but there you go. David Enrique, Who Dat Comics and Movies. He's got himself a contest going on. I think I
Soup's
saw
not
the
dinner.
Snapdragon, TJ Watson previously. I always like seeing TJ in the chats as well.
Hey, but Bake had to give a shout out to somebody.
Yeah, man, just because it came across my notifications here, Ruben Nieves, he just posted his Comic Corps Baltimore contest entry. So you guys might want to go check that out.
Shut
Can't
up.
wait. Awesome.
Are you doing one there, Bake?
Yeah, man, I'll get one out there. I wanted to buy a shirt first, so I need you to post that link in the chat because I heard you got a steal of a deal going on.
Ooh, salesman.
I like how this guy is
Working it. Working it. Two comments, two plugs. This guy's batting 1,000.
Fucking thank God Paul's
Hey,
dead.
did you know those shirts are $13 today?
Thank God Paul's dead. Yes. Put that right up there with I like rape books.
That's the next Comic Corps shirt.
So to change the subject, we did drop 2 brand new shirts today.
And the link is in the chat. Link is in the chat. Check it out. Get those
Talk about
shirts.
those 2 really great shirts.
Yeah, one is called
I
Is
would
This
for
Mike
days.
Hot? And the other one is I Would for Days, and it's a picture of Colossus. If you guys haven't watched tomorrow, Cat Ren is doing a Mary Fuck Kill show, and a question was episode 2, and a question was brought up to Cat, and it said Colossus, Cyclops, or Cable. She killed Cyclops.
Yes.
He didn't stand a chance.
She
Aw, Slim's a good
married
dude.
Cable, and she would fuck for days. Colossus.
Well, that.
For the sake of Mark, let's go back to the chat. Pocan. Thomas Wayne still chopping it up. RJ Taylor, lots of great content from the chat there. Make sure you're checking those guys out. I know you guys are because you are the chat. All right, let's go forward. See what take us where we're going.
Yeah, so we haven't had a chance to talk about any picks of the week yet, so we'll transition out of grilling JP. We'll do some picks of the week, and then we're going to grill Bake the Snake on what he's been going on recently. So, Kat, Mark, do you guys have any picks of the week over there?
I have a pick of the week.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. I always like this.
I got light bulbs.
Other way.
Luminance.
I got light bulbs.
Shout out to light bulbs. Without
Yeah,
them, you wouldn't be YouTube.
About their
It's
lighting
literally what we're using right
now.
now.
You can thank Mark for going to the store and buying light bulbs.
Daylight equivalent.
Oh, man.
Pretty heavy duty light bulbs.
It says to use them in a barn, but
I
my
would
box would work well too.
I wouldn't allow him to get the other light bulbs.
It was 10,000 lumens. This is 5,000
Yeah,
lumens.
but how much?
Pick of the week.
How much were those other light bulbs you wanted?
They were only $40 a piece.
I said no.
But
Only
hey,
40, that ain't bad.
you know, it says that this has a 22.8 year life year expectancy on it. I'm set for it.
Hopefully the cat doesn't like jump up and
$40 a
break-
piece. How many damn comics is that? I could light some
I know,
candles.
right? I know, right?
When Paul dies.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
Anyway,
Anywho, I have a
handbook.
pick. So my pick of this week is Superman Year One. So don't judge me for picking this cover. I have the main cover coming in my Midtown order, but yeah, the cat's attacking right now. Hashtag Jean Grey. So
Yeah, you're the reason I had to get these.
I gotta tell you, this just felt right to me as far as like a young Superman just kind of like figuring it out, trying to live his life and everything. Definitely holding it down in Smallville. And I had a lot of love for this book. The art was a little cringy at times.
Yeah, because he sucks.
I'm not going to go that far, but the art was a little cringy.
He's like
at
good
times.
on like Daredevil or
Spider-Man.
Better,
Spider-Man.
better than
um,
Gary Frank.
I honestly, if anyone on here has seen Brightburn,
Yeah.
basically this feels, because Brightburn is so much a Superman movie. This and Brightburn could go side by side, but I mean, Superman is a hero. Brightburn is a hardcore killer, and I had so much fun with this book. Honestly, I loved it.
Kat, let me ask you this. Did you feel that this book was Smallville current day?
To a degree, yeah.
I mean, like the Ma and Pa Kent, you could tell that he was trying to draw like them, but I got a very this was a good book.
It was.
It was written well. I enjoyed it too. I really did.
There's maybe one scene I wasn't really a fan of with Lana almost being attacked and Superman having to save her, but it goes side by side with Chad.
All right, Drew. I saw you cringe.
You know what? We actually discussed this on Wednesday on Comic War Unlimited. Shout out to the B Show. I know they need all the help they can get over there. Let's go ahead and give them a hand up. If we don't all work together, we'll get nowhere. So shout out to the B Show. But we had basically gone through the whole deal and we hadn't discussed it yet. And was it Seawood? Did you throw that in the side chat? It's like, did nobody read this Superman book? And the thing is, it was one of the first things I read this week, and it wasn't bad. The art was actually solid. I thought that it was very Frank Miller-y, but at the same time, it's like Frank Miller did all the roughs and Romita came in and cleaned it all up. And I thought that it really worked for what it was art-wise. It was just so damn forgettable. Nothing happened.
No.
And it was just really lame. It wasn't the story was really lame. So there were some parts where it felt a little weird, and I thought that they'd lean into that, and they really didn't. So I don't know if I'm going to be picking up issue number 2.
Well, see now, Carson brought up a point earlier on the book. This is their black label. It's under their black label, right?
Yeah.
This was very, very PC. I mean, would you agree that this was super PC? And it's Superman. I mean, his origin story is PC. But I don't know. I mean, just from all the controversy, it was just I enjoyed it because I missed Smallville, I guess.
But I just want to to me, and I haven't read it yet. But to me, I've heard enough to know that it's basically a retelling of him coming, his origin up to not even being Superman. And if I want a year one of Superman, that's not. I don't want to hear the same story I've heard before. Is that? I mean,
yeah, I agree. There was nothing new here. There's a little strangeness in the beginning where you feel like it's going to be a little off, a little bit different. And it really never comes through in the rest of this book in really any way at all. I think if you're going to read a retelling, a fresh take on a Superman origin, pick up, American Alien, which was a really great 7-issue run. That's something to check out. Max Landis did a little bit of a different take on Superman during his Smallville years, and I thought that it worked a whole lot better than this did. But we're going to see where this goes. I guess people are going to read the number 2 issue and let me know if it was any good. But that's not for me.
Well, it doesn't matter because Black Label's gone anyway. So
Yeah,
I feel like they're doing the same thing with that Flash Year One too. It's just like the same stuff that we've seen before on like the CW or Smallville, you know.
yeah, I'm enjoying that. See, I don't know. I guess I like.
I like it. It's familiar. I think it might be something that new fans can jump in on, and that's what they're going for. But I expect a little more from the Black Label, you know, a little more edgy. That's what they advertise. You know?
Yeah, the new Batman book was a lot better because it was super weird and it was out there. I'm digging that.
What's the next one is Deceased, right? Which you guys are doing on the what's the Judge and Jury?
Oh, the Comic Court.
Yeah, Comic Court.
Yeah, because my proposed books we talk about on there next were eventually when they end, so we can read the whole thing and talk about. We're Deceased. Of course, me and Drew are gonna have to go at it a doomsday clock at some point.
Hey man, I am ready to destroy you. I'm just gonna throw up panels of Wiggles McScribble's art, and people are gonna know.
8 more months, and you'll be able to finish it, right?
Yeah. Anyway, but the one thing I think it comes out next week is Batwang or whatever that book's called, Batman Damned.
Number 3.
Issue 3 comes out next week.
I got $10 that says it's pushed back again. I'm kidding.
I got $10 that says I sold my number 1 and my number 2 to JB out in Discovery Bay, and I will not be picking up number 3. Sorry, Cholo Etrigan the Demon for the loser right there. Not a good book.
I would be curious to see if anyone would like to defend.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I've honestly enjoyed it.
I didn't read it.
I would say from the first issue to the second issue, all the controversy revolving around showing off that private parts. Definitely, they highly censored the second one, which honestly, if it hadn't blown up to the degree that it had been, I think that the series as a whole could have been much more. But I'm still thoroughly enjoying it throughout. I think the art is spectacular throughout. I've been excited about this since it was announced because I loved Azrael's Joker so much, and definitely excited to see where this chapter of that world ends.
Well, if you want to go to Comic Court over that one, you let me know.
It's like a show.
I wasn't invited last time.
Everybody's invited to everything.
It's the first release on the Black Label. If the Black Label ends up being able to stick it out and keep going, then who knows? It's something to hold on to. But other than that, I wasn't a total fan of the art, but that's just me. I appreciate it for what it is. I know it's good, but it's just not for me. That's all.
Yeah, so I guess why we're talking about the Black Label, what do you guys think of the treatment of the DC Black Label brand so far? Not only are they taking books like Batman Damned, Superman Year One, and kind of letting creators do what they want with it, up to including updating that format to like a prestige format, but they're putting like older trades out. Like they re-released Kingdom Come under the Black Label for some reason.
Yeah, they're like
what do you guys think about
like
that?
video games, man.
So have you guys heard the announcement today about the Black Label?
Well, they already ending it?
No, the announcement today was that they are going to there's going to be a DC Kids, DC, and Black Label. And they're getting rid of Vertigo. So anything that's considered 17 plus on their rating system is going to be Black Label. Anything that's like all audiences, like 13, PG-13 would be DC, like all your regular DC books. And then anything that would be like a G movie or whatever, or PG movie would be DC Kids.
So probably
I'm actually fine with that.
Scooby-Doo team up.
I'm totally cool with that.
So, but that was announced today. So anything.
Okay.
I feel like that's already been out there, but now they're just putting a stamp on it, so they're not liable for shit anymore.
I don't know. I think that the Black Label everything that has been released Black Label so far, beyond Batman Damned, has been quality in my opinion. And Batman Damned, it spiked the market, and it drummed up interest, and normies were talking about Batman's dingus. So like, that's cool. That's good. That's good for business. I think the problem is that they didn't double down on that. They stumbled coming out. They stumbled coming out of the blocks instead, and it hurt them. But I mean, like I said, the new Batman, what's it called, Last Night? That's quality stuff. They released the trades of White Knight under the Black Label.
The sequel.
Curse of the White Knight's going to be under the Black Label. So that's just that those are really good stories. And hopefully, I don't like Azzarello, and I'm not a fan of Painty McSloppyson, whoever the hell the guy is who does the art on those books. Bermejo. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his accentuated facial expressions. Everybody's cheek meat has like far too many points of articulation in it. But beyond that, that's a high quality release that people were excited about. So like, yeah, we're doing these prestige format things. We're doing the magazine size. I'm cool with that. I think it's all right. I just hope that they give it a chance to really encompass a lot of other cool things with the new properties they're bringing out with it. And if they're going to be re-releasing classic stories that deserve the spotlight, like Kingdom Come, cool, let's do that. I'm down with that.
So has anybody looked at the previews for Harleen under Black Label?
I've just seen that it's coming. I haven't looked at it yet.
I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's the same artist that's doing some of the covers for Hawkman right now.
Oh,
for some of the DCB covers, and it's gorgeous throughout, in my opinion. And it's definitely that same retelling of the story of how Harley met Joker, and the whole mad love situation there. But I'm excited about it. Personally, I think it looks awesome.
I'm still hungry.
He's always hungry.
What
He's
flavor
always
ice
hungry.
cream?
Mark is the Ryback of Comic Core.
Ryback.
He's the elf of the Comic Core, where he's got several stomachs.
He's got spaghetti with candy and syrup coming up.
Probably.
All right, let's see who we got in the chat here. I think I saw Farley's Nerd Cave. Yeah, there he is. What's going on, Farley's Nerd Cave? We also got the Comic Collector. What's going on?
Not just a comic collector.
Oh, you are.
Pocan Joe says he wants to be on Comic Court. I would love to see Pocan Joe called on the stand and Drew have to ask him questions. That'd be pretty hilarious in my opinion.
Oh, well, he's
Yeah,
just going to tell me
that.
that I can't handle the truth.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to make that happen somehow. We got aggressively relaxing in the chat. What is going on? And yeah, so Superman ice cream. There it is. So I don't think we've heard any picks of the week from our guests. So JP, what have you been reading this week? Is anything?
Well, the reason I was out of collecting is I never had a comic shop close to me. So my closest one is about an hour away now. So I made it this week. I've been reading all the stuff from last week. Actually today I finished up, haven't put them away in the boxes, like Batman Who Laughs #6. I did read Catwoman today. Most everything else from last week I have gotten already put away. The best of what I read from my last pull list. I'm really digging Injustice League right now. I am liking where Scott Snyder's going with that. That has been really good to me. And what else has been really good? This was okay. I'm curious what other people think of this. I had high hopes for the Batman Who Laughs, and I thought it's just been okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I'm going to wait for the final issue to come out, but I'm kind of lost on the story at this point. It's just so chaotic and crazy that I'm going to have to wait and reread all 7 of them.
And I
Did
feel
anybody
like,
have real problems reading the red on red in the
Yeah,
first
that-
couple pages of this book? It was
No.
that was an editorial choice that I think really they were trying to give you the hidden message, and the hidden message popped, but the actual story was just like trying to read mud on mud. It's just not.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, the red they used didn't quite pop off the page like it should have, as contrasted to the black background. So it's like if you're reading like at night, it's actually kind of hard to read the actual. You'd be better off reading it digitally, probably.
Yeah, and my biggest problem with it, I think, why I think it's just okay, is I feel like it's just been every issue has basically been the same issue. It's been Bruce comes up with a plan, and the Batman Who Laughs outthinks him. And then we move on to the next issue, and Bruce comes up with a new plan, and the Batman Who Laughs outthinks him. And it's like, okay, but the story itself isn't moving.
Well, you know he's not going to be defeated because he's the new villain in the first arc of the Batman Superman that's being released.
I know, and it's like,
So he's not going to get over it.
well,
It's not going anywhere.
And Bruce isn't going to turn into the Batman Who Laughs. So it's kind of like, I feel like they drug this out unnecessarily. I feel like it could have been like a 3-issue little mini and been done with it.
So much better than Tom King's Batman, though. So give me 7 issues of it for sure. I want that jock art.
With the Grim Knight.
Yeah, that Grim Knight was a great issue by it.
I think
in and of
that
itself.
was the best issue of the whole run.
My favorite
I thought
by far.
going to be the true breakout character, Grim Knight.
Yeah.
He might still be.
I was going to say, I don't think we've seen the last of the Grim Knight.
No.
What about you, Big? What have you been reading lately?
Dude, to be honest, I've been crazy busy moving my cabinet shop to a new place, but Flash Year 1, I was talking about it to chat with you guys here a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, although it is, familiar, but it is a nice jumping off point. I've been going off with that a little bit. Other than that, not too much recently. Like I said, before I lived like an hour and a half away from my comic book store, so I haven't. But I tell you what, on your advice and Legends advice, I did finally step up to that DC streaming app.
Nice.
So I went full out and went for the whole year subscription, and be checking out more comics and more TV shows, except Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I've not done that yet. Need to.
Yeah, I still need to watch episode 4 myself. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about on Outside the Issues next Thursday with Swamp Thing episode 4.
He might make
man,
appearance.
gone too soon for sure, man. I mean, I only know about that stuff firsthand because I was down in the Keys when they canceled Bloodlines, and they tried to play that stuff with us down here about taxes and tax cuts, and just basically rich companies wanting to get tax breaks to film.
Give me them kickbacks.
Man,
Yep.
Coach Taylor should.
They don't bring enough money to your towns to warrant $40 million tax breaks.
No.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. But
Yeah, they film a whole lot of House of Cards around my neighborhood, and that honestly it brought a lot of jobs to the area, but not $40 million worth of jobs.
No.
So anyway, we'll start grilling our other guest here. So Bake, first off, I want you to plug your auction. You got an auction tomorrow, don't you?
Yeah, man, I haven't done one in a little while now, so I enlisted the help of Comic Books NYC, Comic Head 84, and Comic Smurf Caleb to come on tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Saturday. Should be a good time. Might even have a couple special guest, appearances. We'll see. Maybe Boy Who Had 7. Maybe Chad 90, maybe a couple others.
Oh, nice. That Chad 90, man. That YouTube is 90, I guess.
So he says.
But he's awesome. Yeah, I like being on his Thursday Turtle Show. Reviews in a half shell, or Turtle Talk Thursdays. So that's always a great show to check out if you guys would like to sub him up. I try to join him when I can. But he's got me hooked into turtles again, so it's been awesome.
Yeah, he keeps getting on me to catch up and read, and like I said, lately
Yeah.
I've just been passing out early for moving all these tools and setting everything up. But everything's good to go now, so I'll be up late night. You know, late night for me. You guys, most people are on the West Coast or Central, so.
Yeah, I'm East Coast too, man. So with you selling all these books, is there anything in particular you're like a grail item you're trying to get, or are you just going after any type of books? Or are you going after any books at all? You just want to read some digital?
Yeah, I have 2 on my list that I'm going for, saving up for GSX 1 and Fantastic Four number 5. You know, Doctor Doom. Who doesn't love Doctor Doom? But those take some time, and then also some thinking. Like, when you raise that much money, do you really want to put it towards, you know, a book that's made of paper?
Just get another car.
Yeah, like seriously, like you have a.
Like, I'd really
once you
like
finally
a
do-
GSX and a 9.8, but I'd like a Tesla too.
Exactly. So I mean, it really is a dilemma for like a hardcore collectors. You know, we all get faced with that question. Like, once you get that amount of money in your hand, do you buy that Grail? I mean, I'm streaming to you all from a computer that I won money for, and I asked Matt, Boy Who Had 7, and Comic Books NYC, and I'm like, dude, I won this shit from the Super Bowl. I got like $3,000. Do I put it on a computer or do I put it on a Grail? Well, YouTube changed their shit, and you have to have a 1,000 followers to stream through your mobile devices now. So if I didn't make the decision to buy a laptop, then I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now.
Yeah.
But also, computer depreciates in value, and Fantastic Four number 5 is only going to get more expensive. So, shit. You know, what am I going to do? You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
That's true.
Computer was a good choice, though.
Right?
You can do a lot
I mean,
more
I've
with
always
computer.
For sure. And I've always wanted a laptop. I've had desktops and stuff, but I've always wanted one since I was a kid, and I never had a laptop, so I finally just pulled the trigger.
Huh.
Damn, these bastards are expensive.
I'm
Yeah.
quite opposite. I'm actually really tired of laptops and really looking for a good
Yeah.
desktop.
He's really looking for a giant 80-pound computer that he can't move from room
Yeah.
to room.
Just because it's the size of a school bus doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's
No,
not
I'm
the
used
size
to
of the
that
boat.
already at my shop, man. I got like a 38-inch or whatever it is monitor and do all my drawings and stuff for my CNC machine on there.
Nice.
So what all books are you into recently? I know, I'm guessing since you sent me some turtle shot glasses, you like some Ninja Turtles, man. Like, is there a specific like character that got you into collecting or anything like that?
Dude, I gotta be honest, like, down here in the small town of the Keys, I didn't really know too much about turtles. My buddy, his sister, was like kind of like a actress. She was on Broadway and a couple other things. She was on Les Mis and Broadway. This is when we were kids. And he came back one time from New York with these toys, show and tell, showing me these turtles. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And next thing I know, I was hooked. Then there, all of a sudden, like a couple years later, there was a cartoon that came out. You know, the rest is history. To be honest, I didn't really know there was comics until maybe like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Oh wow.
Like, I was really just, you know, that's probably in that middle time where I wasn't in comics anymore. You know, I was in high school or leaving high school. You got, is that a croissant or is that a burger?
No, I ran to
I was like, is that left over from breakfast drive-through?
No, I just ran to McDonald's real quick.
No, all right.
That's how much we mean to him.
I got really hungry.
If you don't get enough for everybody, you have to share with the whole class.
I've heard the term Mac Attack before, but that's awesome.
Yo, speaking of which, I was in Cat Mark's chat earlier, and they were talking about Stranger Things, and you did the Coke tasting. Did you see the advertisement for the Upside Down Whopper? Talk about the laziest shit ever. Literally, all they did is make the Whopper flip it upside down and wrap it, and it's like the upside down Whopper for Stranger Things.
That's pretty great, actually.
Yeah,
I got a story about Burger King. I had that black burger, the nightmare, whatever, dude.
Vader one.
What color was your poo?
That's what I was gonna tell you.
The one with the purple bun and shit.
Yeah, my shit was purple for like a month.
The Seawood facepalm after that question might have been my favorite thing about tonight.
I give you the Picard.
Mark,
usually this happens before the 11 o'clock hour, so I'm pretty impressed so far tonight.
Yeah, good job. Good job,
Why Chad thinks about the Black Burger King burger. Let's see what we got going on in that chat. We got Barbarian Kung Fu. What's going on, man? Glad you made it tonight. We still got Chris Barrett. Says, Jesus wine glass. I love reading things out of context when there's a conversation going on. It's always fun, isn't it? People are talking about, the whole thing with the states and craziness and Swamp Thing being canceled, and I can't remember the other Bloodline. That's it. Bloodline being canceled for that same reason. We got Comics of Bueller in the chase. Says, hello, comic people. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Nice to see you, Bueller. And Thomas Wayne still in the chat. So about Burger King shoes.
It's all about
Burger
BK
King
foot
shoes.
lettuce. Google it.
Okay, I will Google it.
What?
I don't know.
So
Burger King foot lettuce.
let's discuss that awesome box behind JP of Commissioner Gordon's son.
I was wondering how long that was going to take you, Chad.
Yep.
McDonald's and back. You noticed it.
Yeah, it took an hour and 10 minutes. Like,
That's Commissioner Gordon's son. on
Yeah,
that.
Instead of the Joker?
It's not the Joker.
So here we go. Once again, we have Detective Comics 880,
Oh, nice.
which, Chad, if you read this book, you kind of find out that, spoilers, I guess.
Is
Spoilers.
it little Jimmy Jr.?
This
Yep.
little Jimmy is masquerading as the Joker in this comic.
Right.
However, because Trinity's not here to defend him, maybe we should take this to Comic Court. We
The
need to get-
Joker is
we
in
need
the.
our pal Trinity
I'll
back
admit,
here. Yeah, you just have a Comic Court on this cover.
But that's little Jimmy.
That's little Jimmy, huh?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though Jock did say in the interview, I found the interview Trinity was talking about. Jock himself, who did this wonderful cover, did say it was a Joker cover.
He said it
I'll
was.
leave you with that. Yeah,
But it's
we went over
Jimmy
this
as the
for
Joker.
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
Happy
little-
anniversary,
little
Chad.
Jimmy is
It's
the Joker.
him
It's the Joker Jimmy.
as the Joker.
Jimmy Jokers.
So it's still a Joker cover, but it's still a Jimmy cover.
Look, I'm like pointing at Cap. Like she's a DC chick,
I'm just putting all the points out there.
but she's
I would honestly
What are you
say,
reading this week?
I would say that it can be a Jimmy cover and a Joker cover because it's him as the Joker. I mean, basically,
That's the way I
like
looked at it.
that's
It's
like
both.
that's like when we were cosplaying at C2E2. Yeah, we were dressed as Starfire and Arsenal. It's like, but it was technically a picture of Kat and Mark, but it was also Starfire and Arsenal. Just not the actual thing.
fucking mind blown. See that? That's why she gets paid the big bucks. folks.
Good point. Good point. Drew,
My
I
head hurt.
was reading, so I recapped it on Comic Core Unlimited. So once again, me and Drew, we're trying to help out that B show. So if you guys want to see my review of Drawing Blood to number 2, my pick of the week.
That's an awesome cover.
Yeah, isn't that
It's been
awesome?
good so
Kevin
far.
Eastman doing his tribute to the movie Metropolis. I had to get this cover, and it's actually a really awesome read too. So I thought issue 2 was a lot better than issue 1. Not that issue 1 was bad. I thought it was fine, but I'm putting this on my pull list now. I really like this issue.
Wow.
So
I
I
really
really,
like
enjoyed it.
Did you guys read Justice League this week?
Yeah,
That was good.
Not yet.
it was all right.
Captain Carrot's in it.
It's another filler issue. Waiting for the Snyder and
do
him
like
and its art to
Captain
come
Carrot.
back.
Still in between.
I am not reading Batman anymore. I tried to read that terrible bullshit this week.
Oh man, it's great. They go on a camping trip, a father-son camping trip
With a coffin.
through broken continuity.
Oh wow.
Good job, Tom King. You know what was really good this week, guys? It was this book right here. It's an Age of X-Men book this is the end of Next Gen. If you read one of these 5-issue minis, this is the one to read. It focuses on Glob Herman. It ends really, really sad. We're going to figure out what happens in the Omega issue. I'm the only one who's still reading this series. So,
It's still coming out.
dude, honestly, this Next Gen, this is Ed Brisson working with the young kids. Some of my favorite X-Men characters. A lot of them were introduced in the Morrison New X-Men run, but they were really fleshed out in Wolverine and the X-Men, one of my favorite X-Men books of all time. And I really like those kids, Anole and Glob Herman and Armor. Just some really cool characters in there. Shark Girl, Eye Boy, they're all over the place, man. And just some really great characters, really great storytelling. Poor Glob Herman. He's one of the great tragic characters in current Marvel, and I really loved it.
Hey, Drew, what was your favorite era of X-Men?
See, now I've been thinking about this, and I think that I should really do an X-Men show. So I need to find an 8th day of the week that I can take a day off and stream about X-Men all day long, because I love the X-Men. And honestly, I think Post-Schism is some of my favorite X-Men stuff.
Wow.
And that's the stuff that nobody seems to care for. Wolverine and the X-Men was really great. Bendis on Uncanny running concurrent with all new X-Men was awesome stuff. It was a little anticlimactic because of the way that they went into Secret Wars and then gave you X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 600. It was just all over the place and a weird wrap-up. But I really like those books, and I liked a lot of the things spinning out of that as well. Inhumans versus X-Men, stuff that I really enjoyed. I can't think of a lot of eras in X-Men that I don't care for, with the exception of the late Claremont stuff, where he obviously had started phoning it in, and the I'm not a big fan of. I'm going to draw a blank on his name now. The Uncanny 400s, that era is just like not for me. But I love X-Men, man.
I mean, X-Force back in the day with strong guy and all
X Factor.
Yeah, X Factor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Peter David stuff, really good.
Yeah.
With Havoc and Polaris and Multiple Man.
Yeah,
really good.
I was gonna say one of my it's probably, I wouldn't say my favorite, but a very underrated X-Men era is that Messiah Complex era.
Yeah.
I really liked. I mean, I think all books were running like full throttle then. I mean, you had Brubaker on the Uncanny, you had Craig Kyle and Chris Yost doing a phenomenal X-Force run, and you had just an awesome, vastly underrated X Factor run by Peter David. Where you got
the X Factor investigation stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love that's my favorite.
Love Multiple Man from that era.
Yeah, oh yeah, Multiple Man. He was one of my he's kind of one of my boys, as I put it. Basically, after reading that run, he's up there like Buddy Baker and Booster for me after that one.
I dug Exiles, the first run on Exiles, and then Mutant X too.
The great thing about the first Exiles run is it was a what if comic every issue.
Yeah.
And the way that they hopped realities and picked up X-Men here and there was really great. It's something they kind of lost in the last run of Exiles, in my opinion. It's actually currently running, I believe, until they cancel everything. That was it left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. But the first run of Exiles was great. And you got a lot of that stuff in Extreme X-Men as well when they moved into different X-Men from different realities. It's kind of a build a team from alternate realities. I really dig that stuff.
I enjoy. I've always liked the X-Men. I like Claremont's. Was it X-Men Forever?
Yeah, that's basically the extension of his run.
It picked up from when he left, and then they killed off. They killed off Wolverine, and then Kitty Pryde ended up having the Claw for a while. That was pretty good.
If you guys are Wolverine, Kitty Pryde fans, I love the combination of those two characters. I think their first couple of interactions in comics were really great. Check out Spider-Gwen, because the versions of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine that show up in the Spider-Gwen universe during that first run were absolutely awesome. It was the untouchable Shadowcat and the incredible Mr. Murder Hands, which was Wolverine. It's like the best name for Wolverine I think I've ever heard of in my life. So
Did you ever
that was
notice
really
that
good stuff.
he's always had like a thing for like young
Yeah,
girls?
Squirrel Girl, I know.
Damn it.
We've covered it.
Yep, that'd be a rerun.
I did buy these PVC statues that I've been buying. They had a Squirrel Girl one, and I bought it, and then I went into GameStop, and they had a Wolverine. And I was like, so I bought both of them. They have their own shelf.
I really hope that
So
when Hickman
wrong.
takes over the X-Men, that we get a retcon and that Honey Badger isn't a clone of X-23. She's actually the love child of Squirrel Girl and Wolverine.
Dang.
No.
Face, but Cat's face on that was pretty funny.
Oh no.
So, like, how long has Jubilee been a vampire?
She's
Was
not
it-
anymore.
No, she's not anymore.
No.
She was for a long time though.
Oh,
Yeah, for a long time. It was
Yeah,
pre-schism.
titular,
It was the Uncanny did Curse of the Mutants, which was the Dracula story, which was like probably the weakest arc in that run. They did some really great Mr. Sinister stuff after that I thought was fun. Then she was recently retconned.
Well, they're talking about bringing back the original '90s cartoon on Disney Plus.
I think that's a little bit of a long shot. I think we'll get a new X-Men cartoon.
I just like the first introduction of Morph when I first met him. He was like this weird middle-aged man.
I think
More
one of the
gone too soon. What did
one-
he
one
have,
of the-
2 episodes?
the only downside I feel to the Marvel purchase by Disney, I think that it's really done a lot of great things to boost the comics, boost the visibility of a lot of characters, and really done wonders for the MCU. But the worst thing that ever happened, in my opinion, is when Disney bought Marvel, they canceled the Nickelodeon series Wolverine and the X-Men that was going into Age of the Apocalypse, was
Oh my
teased
God,
for
yes.
season 2. Oh man, I want that.
Remember-
That was one of the best comic book cartoon shows of all time. Really dig that.
Remember when the pods landed and they opened up and it was like there was first time you got to see Gambit and then all of a sudden Catman you got to see Colossus.
Yeah, it's X-Men Evolution. X-Men Evolution is awesome.
When you just said Catherine, you get to see Colossus.
Yes, Katya.
Did I show my chicken?
I was gonna say, don't make Mark choke on that chicken bone. But anyway, yeah, I was gonna say X-Men Evolution was an underrated run. Everyone always frowns on it because that first season is a little bit hard.
First appearance of X-23.
It is, yeah. It really, yeah. You had to, I think.
Do any of you remember the original live action X-Men TV show from like early 90s?
You talk about the Generation X TV movie.
Yeah.
That too.
It was on a
and, Mutant X as well with the guy who played Lex Luthor from Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman as well.
What is this called?
Syndication.
There was a Generation X TV movie.
Yes.
Wasn't it going to be a series at first?
Yes, and then they cut the pilot, and basically they were like, well, they're not going to do anything with it, but they spent so much money, they want to get advertising dollars.
And it had like wasn't it Chamber?
Really, Chris?
Chamber, Jubilee, Skin,
Yeah.
Mondo, and White Queen.
Wasn't
Emma
Max
Frost.
Headroom the main bad guy in that?
Yes. Yes.
Was it any good?
Yeah, Mastodon just.
Oh
confirmed
no, it was not any good.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was around the same era where like Fox would just churn out these like awful like they did the Doctor
He wasn't
Who title
M-plate,
movie,
though,
and it
was he?
sucked, too.
What's that?
He didn't play M-plate. He was just some random scientist, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I don't think he was a character.
Yeah.
He was maxed
That-
out as far
That
as
first run at Generation X, some of my favorite X-Men stuff.
Oh
of
my
all time.
god, it was
Bolstered
awesome.
my love for Banshee. M-Plate is a badass villain who's been nerfed in years since, but he's basically just a mutant power vampire. That's pretty awesome.
I remember that artist. I'm trying to think of his name, but in every issue he would do like a frog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd draw this like frog that was like super high or something. Or he was smoking, I don't know, weed. I
Weren't
try
we all?
not to say that. I don't know why I just did.
We
did-
already covered forcible copulation. I think that we can throw a little herbal refreshment out there as well.
And I just downed 4 hamburgers and I feel like I'm terrible.
It's just like sitting there on your stomach.
You know, the dog.
Congratulations, your arteries are gonna love you.
I was really
Get over
hungry.
the
And
chicken nuggets, bro.
I literally ran out of here. I was like, I gotta get something to eat. And I was like, I looked and I had like peanut butter and jelly, and I was like, that's too much effort. So I jumped in my car and just drove down to McDonald's.
Yeah, Katie said I
Peanut
can't go to
butter and
McDonald's.
jelly was too much work.
Mark is banned from McDonald's.
I'll talk myself out of shit like that too sometimes. I'll be like, yeah, but it's cold. I want something hot. So I'm just,
Throw the microwave in the garbage.
God.
I went golfing. I went golfing the other day, and the lady's like, "Oh, I didn't know you guys were out on the course because it was raining." And she's like, "I'd have hot dogs." And I'm like, "Do you still have them?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Can I have 2 of them?" And she's like, "Well, they're not
Go
cooked."
get-
I was like,
No.
You got a microwave?" Like, throw them in there for a minute. I'm good.
Yeah, I've been cooking hot dogs in microwave since I was 7. Let's roll.
Is that how you cook a hot dog?
I'm like,
I
"You
wasn't
gotta-"
allowed to light the
Can I
grill,
describe
so
how I
yeah,
cook a
stab a
hot
couple
dog?
holes in it, roll it in a
Go for it.
wet napkin or whatever, and
Split
put it
right
in the
down the
microwave.
middle.
There, man.
First, you start a campfire. Then second, you make
burn your
sure
house down.
it's outside. Then second, you wrap your hot dog in aluminum foil. Then third, you find a stick that won't catch on fire to hang over the fire and
It's
cook your
called a
hot dog
hanger.
properly.
Did you ever think about that though? Like you go
have a
back and
fire
think about
pit.
all the shit that you did as a kid, right? Like-
Me?
Sparklers. Do you guys remember sparklers?
No, Roman
Still sell
torches.
them in the state of Indiana.
Uh-huh.
Like we
You
would
still
end
get
up.
'em.
They were so once you're done with them, they were like glowing red, and you're like, "Oh, these are lightsabers," and we'd like stab each other. with them. And I'm like, these
I would
are
I
not
would use them
suggest
to
that.
light other fireworks.
like
Yeah, that's
incredibly stupid to do this. And then you got the Roman candles, and then you just
Yeah,
like,
we do
I remember Roman candles.
we would have like battles with those in the yard.
My buddy set his backyard on fire with a Roman candle war.
We used to
What-
have bottle rocket guns.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Shoot up some PVC piping with some
Yup.
duct tape on the back.
Yup.
My friends and I actually had the police called on us for having bottle rocket war in our front yard.
when we were in like,
Tracks.
when we were
In
little,
Hartford.
we came up with this idea to hang a ghost across the major highway
Oh.
and run it across on like a string,
So bad.
and it would just like bounce and go like this. So then we caused a major accident because one of them fell.
Oh no.
The
They
car
made a
drove.
movie about that. It was called The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin and Elijah. They threw that fucking fake body off the bridge and everyone. Oh man.
But the lady, I remember the lady smashing the lady in front of her, and we were like, we looked at each other, and we're like, we gotta run. So we're running, and there's like, it was kind of like the Goonies because like I used to not be fat,
Did you get ice cream?
but yeah, like
Rocky Road.
but I was fast and I was running, and the other kids were running. We had this one fat kid with us, and he's running, and like he trips, and you hear him fall, and like lights come on, the people are like running out, and we're hiding behind a bush, and he smells like shit, and I'm like, dude, did you just shit your pants? He's like, yeah, I got scared when the lights came on, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
I never understood that. How do you shit yourself?
And I'm like, why? Why do you smell like shit? And what's all over you? And like here, he had tripped and fell and slid across an entire patio that they just laid the cement.
Oh.
So he was covered in head to toe in cement and smelled like shit. And I'm telling you that.
That poor homeowner.
And it was our principal.
Homeowner.
It was our principal.
That poor kid.
You can wash all that off, okay?
You can
That
never forget.
homeowner now.
No, you're never gonna
Never
forget.
I
Like,
do all that.
But now he will always have the
Traumatized for
story that
life.
he shit his pants.
So
Yeah.
happy 4th
That's
of
his
July
fault.
from the Comic Report.
Hey, Chad? Is
yeah.
that-
Take these tips and more, and don't do them at all.
No.
Now.
Not
At all.
safe. Do not
Don't.
do
JP, what were
that.
you?
Yeah,
JP,
He-
what were you
he's a
saying?
knuckle salt.
101.
Don't do what he
I thought
does.
this kid's name was Chad.
No, his name was Dozer. His nickname was Dozer.
My friend.
Oh no, I got yeah. But my nickname was Head, and I still don't understand why. I think it's because they said I was like a weeble wobble. Because
You
like my
wobble,
head,
but you won't fall over.
yeah, well, my head.
Let me get the deep
I was
breath.
cursed.
He had a buddy called Block because he had a blockhead.
Yeah, my mom even gets upset about it because like she went like she was taking, I was a baby and she was taking me shopping and the lady was like, putting a coat on her and she was like, "Ma'am, your baby's head's too big." And
Current size when you're a kid.
I'm like, I look like a fucking Funko Pop.
Or was it his head's freaking huge. It looks like an orange on a pencil. That's why I'm your expert, I think.
Jeez. All right. Carson, I think
As I said, it's 11:30. It's about that end time. Just big thanks to the chat. We still got Chris Barrett, Thomas Wayne, Bear Island Comics, and the Mastodon. So we'll go ahead and go through the line, see what everyone else got going on this week. So Drew Manchu, we'll start with you. What's going on
Oh
here?
man, I was thinking about making a contest video for this Bear Island guy. I don't do those contest videos, man, but I was thinking about it. So you might see that. You might not. I'm thinking about doing some other stuff too, but I probably won't. So check me out on the Comic Corps. Drew Manchu, baby.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see you on all the fun shows coming up next week, Drew. Next up, we'll go with Bake the Snake. We already know about the auction, man. You want to plug that one more time for the people just joining us?
Yeah, man. Bake the Snake auction, Comic Books NYC, Comic Head 84, and Comic Smurf tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. And any other time, give me a shout. I'll be
Awesome.
there.
All right. Well, we definitely enjoyed your presence tonight. Next
You
up,
ain't
we'll
present.
go-
Try.
Nobody brought me presents.
sorry, Drew. Next up, we'll go to JP's Budget Collecting. What's going on in your channel, bud?
Well, the top 10 for this week drops tomorrow morning, 11 Central. As usually, as when I drop that, it's already ready to go. At some point, I need to make a Comic Corps video for you guys' contest. Hopefully, I get that done this week. And other than that, I don't actually have anything really on the agenda right now. So I guess July 1st will be the next episode of the Gotham City Chronicles that I do with Comic Books NYC. That'll be on his channel, and we are going to be talking about Batman White Knight. So
Awesome. Can't wait for that. It's a great series. So that'll definitely be a good show. All right, next up, we got Catrin Figures. I'm guessing you want to talk about maybe a little bit of a show tomorrow night. On your channel. I'm really interested.
All right, so tomorrow night, I have the lovely honor of having Carson, aka Seawood, one of the best from the Comic Corps, and Chad, of course, coming live onto Cat Run Figures gracing us with another episode of Mary F. Kill, otherwise known
Don't you dare say that.
otherwise known as
No.
Colossus.
Oh.
No.
But
Now, so there was just lost a few other characters.
So
What?
When Mark says the names, he's like, he's just like,
he gets so
he's
mad.
like Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, Colossus.
Come on.
I mean, like, Mark, think about this. Next cosplay, she's gonna dress you up in.
You're gonna be Colossus, dude.
You're gonna be wrapped up in aluminum foil. Like a fucking 6'2" burrito.
Mark, I told you to learn that Russian accent now.
This
Oh,
Duh.
Oh
oh.
my
Ew.
goodness. I'm gonna have some nightmares
Spasibo,
tonight,
Katya.
guys.
It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
God,
here
now she's
on.
actually gonna wrap me in aluminum foil.
You get struck by
We're
lightning.
gonna have so much fun. Both Chad and Mark are going to be judges for each of the different levels. Yes, we are still going to do some shots. Yeah, Carson, I didn't warn you about shots yet, but we're doing shots once again.
I'm gonna need some
It's
shots.
a
if you're gonna
drinking
keep
game.
doing that.
Fireball.
Well, at least Mark will be protected from spy satellites.
But Carson wanted to do it at 8 because he has to go to work in the morning.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough morning.
But it should be a fun one.
Yeah. If we can even, we're to the point where we can't even say the name of the show without busting up laughing and pointing fun at Mark. What's the actual show going to be like? Tune in at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Don't lose all your money on Bake the Snake's channel and then go over to Cat Ren's channel and laugh about it and forget that you lost all your money to Bake and all of his friends
Dude,
over there.
multitask, man. Double
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
it. We all
Two
do it
things.
before.
There you go. That's all you got to have.
Wrap him up in duct tape.
Not again. There's a story behind
Not
that.
again.
I'm not
Not
gonna
again.
duct tape
When were
again.
you wrapped in
Drew
duct
got
tape?
I don't want to talk about it.
No, I
quickly
want to
said
talk about
not
that.
again.
When were you wrapped in duct tape?
I was 8 years old. I was duct taped to a chair for an hour.
What?
Yep.
Show me on this doll where they touched you.
Frank idea for Baltimore.
Did you ever duct tape 40s to your hands?
I'm never playing that game again either.
That's a good one.
I
The
know
trick is to dug the first one and work the second
my
one
second
slow.
grade teacher duct taped my hand to my bully's hand like this because she thought we'd be friends, right? This girl had been held back 2 times. She was,
She was
twice my
22.
size. She was
Yup.
twice my size. And we were supposed to be duct taped like this for the entire day, right?
What kind of
So,
school did you go to?
She drop kicked me to the ground and then dragged me while I was screaming.
Is this a Catholic school?
Yeah, I
No.
was like, I saw that in a movie one time. They tied their hands together and then they had a knife fight.
No, that's called Thriller.
I was 7.
No, not
Yeah,
Thriller.
that's
This
right.
girl was 10.
West Side Story?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Hey, when
Yeah,
you're a
right.
jet, you're
Thriller
a jet
or
all the
West
way
Side
from your
Story.
first cigarette to your last dying day.
All right. So I guess I'll go. If I survive the Colossus Kill show, I get
Why is
to
it called that?
Because they named it that.
turn it into a verb thanks to Chad.
Colossus is now a verb.
Hey, wait. You do have something this weekend, isn't it?
I think I have something every day this week.
I thought it was a Baron Corbin versus Gulak.
I was getting to that. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Sunday. So if I survive the cat show on Sunday, we're gonna have the one last final retirement match on the Great Legend Show channel between Drew Gulak, one of the best, versus Baron Corbin. Oh,
Oh.
see, Cat's understanding finally.
Oh.
greaseball hair. He shaved it, and he looks like a hipster bartender now, and he's terrible. So hopefully I can retire this guy. So we're going to shove him again. It gets that cotton ball. It'll be fun. But anyway, Sunday night, Great Legend Show channel. I think I have Monday off from things. Maybe we'll see. And then Tuesday will be the return of the Tuesday night live stream. We're going to recap the month of June. Show you a couple books there. That's on my channel. And other than that, take it away, Chad.
Oh, we got a new show coming up, but we
do?
haven't really- yeah,
That's
remember? But no, we got to record it. Remember?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be like kind of like comic historian style, but it's gonna be with Cat Legend, C Wood, me. Oh, okay. So on the Comic Core, make your videos, buy your T-shirts, come to Comic Con. We've got a lot of announcements, and we have a big announcement next Friday night. But we also are gonna have guests with us next Friday night, and those guests are Previews Magazine and Diamond Distributors. So they will be joining us live on the Comic Core for our big announcement. So stay tuned for that. Whatever. If you guys want to make a show, give us a call. We'll put it up. You can do whatever you want. Just don't show any nudity. But if it's nudity, making Nightwing 93.
Just make it tasteful.
Very tasteful. All right. With that being said, good night. Good night. God bless. How do I get off this?